I am live. Today I'm going to be discussing the Malawi situation. Zambia and Malawi have been neighbors and have shared a common heritage and a common history. And many of us Zambians, particularly young Zambians who felt oppressed and have felt like we don't matter to our leaders, we felt like we don't have an outlet to exercise our constitutional rights or to enjoy our constitutional rights. I reached out to some of my colleagues in Malawi, people in my network, and we were talking about how happy they were because on Sunday they were all celebrating, they were happy with everything that had happened. And so one of my friends asked, how's it in Zambia? And I started to narrate what had been happening in the past few months. And he started to give me advice about the situation. And I thought, you know what, actually, let's have a live stream on this so that more young people can be able to glean from this knowledge and just to learn from your experience, from everything that you've gone through. And yeah, so that's the topic of my live stream today. I usually do my Facebook live stream. I usually do live streams on my Facebook page, Tinashe Mazala. But today I decided to shake things up a little bit and use my YouTube channel to go live instead. So I'm just waiting for my first guest to come on. And as we wait, I'm just going to give you like a brief overview. I'm not going to say too much because I want my guests to speak. So on Sunday, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera was inaugurated into office as the Malawian president, and the vice president, Dr. Silas Chilima. And it is nothing short of, I think, a miracle, and it's actually a breath of fresh air because in our Zambian context, after our last election, we also had a presidential petition We had a little technical difficulty over there with the internet. And just before the technical difficulty, I was just talking about how Malawi has had a president for the past 3 days, and how we saw, despite the court not wanting to hear the matter, they actually gave the petitioners their day in court and found that according to the law, the 50+1 had not been reached by either one of the candidates, and declared that how we got to, and this is how Malawi got to the position they're in with their new president. Some of the people that I'm going to have on today, in fact, all of the people I'm going to have on today, are young people I met while doing a training academy called Program for Young Politicians in Africa. This program is funded by the Swedish Green Forum, and what they do is they bring together young people that are actively involved in political parties, and they give them capacity building. So myself and the people that I'm going to have on were in the first Zambia Malawi cohort region, and that's where I met them. One of the people that is going to come on is actually a sitting member of parliament, and as I believe as a result of the, maybe as one of the things was as a result of the political party training, him, in addition to another woman who was in our cohort, were able to be voted into office as young MPs. So I think that's exciting. They're also co-founders of this. I'm a co-founder of an organization called Center for Young Leaders in Africa that deals with youth governance related matters. Ironically, we are now the implementing partner of the same training academy that we all met at, and we are the people that implement the program in the Zambia and Malawi region. So Center for Young Leaders in Africa has a sister organization called Center for Young Leaders in Africa Malawi, and the people that are going to come on today are part of the co-founders of the Center for Young Leaders in Africa Malawi. So I'm just waiting for my first guest, who's running a little bit late. And he is a member of the Malawit Congress Party. He serves in the office of the president as the person in charge of media. And in addition to that, he serves on the National Youth Executive as the person who's in charge of publicity. He's their publicity secretary. He told me he will be on in a few minutes. He's just trying to log in. And as I'm waiting, I'm just going to talk about how the Malawi situation made me feel. I think it made me hopeful. It made me hopeful that when people actually come together and work together towards a great cause, it actually happens. Because we saw with the Tonse Alliance that Dr. Lazarus Chakwera merged with, other political parties. And that meant that rather than the votes being split, they were able to get 58%, close to 60% in the elections. And I would have absolutely loved to have people here on this live chat from DPP, which is the outgoing party. I think it would have been interesting to just have them on and just to hear what their thoughts are regarding why they may have lost the election, what they view their role as the now as they're in opposition, like how they plan to keep Dr. Chakwera how they plan to hold him accountable, how they plan to offer checks and balances. I think it would be really interesting to just hear perspectives. I really wanted to get a vast number of people on, and people from the other members of the Tonse Alliance. However, they cancelled at the last minute due to unforeseen circumstances. But nonetheless, I feel we're going to have a really exciting discussion with the people that we have on. So I think Rodney is just logging in now. I have Emilia coming on as well. Hi, Emilia. How are you?
Hello, Dinashe. I'm great, and you?
I'm good. How's Malawi doing?
Malawi is awesome at the moment. How is Zambia?
Zambia is good. We're just hoping to learn from your example. We are going into elections next year in 2021. And like you, we are unhappy with our current leadership. So let's hope we will be having this conversation next year and we'll be telling you we are as happy as you guys are with your new leaders. So could you, in your own opinion and in your own words, just tell me about what you think got the Malawi Congress Party to this point?
I think, first of all,
before we do that, I think we're being rude. I think I would like for you to introduce yourself, what you do, and all of that.
All right. I'm Emilia Mkandawire. I am a member of the Malawi Congress Party. Currently, I'm a teacher, and I'm a very active young politician in Malawi.
Okay, so just before you came on, I was telling the viewers that I met you guys at a PYPA training academy, an academy called Program for Young Politicians in Africa, and I was telling them about how we founded both Sila Malawi and Sila Zambia, and how Sila Zambia is now the implementing partner for the PYPA program in both Malawi and the Zambia region. So it's interesting to see how us as young people have, made the most of collaborative opportunities, and hopefully we're going to see the same in our election in 2021. So if you could now give me background on how the election was, the incidents that led to the election, how MCP was treated, and all of those things.
Okay.
Can you hear me, Emilia?
Hello?
Hello, were you able to hear my question?
No, I didn't get it. I think the internet was bad.
Okay, so I was just asking if you could just share with us, give us a little bit of background about on the events that led to the election, like starting right from the point that you had the presidential petition after the end of your last election.
All right. I think it's a common knowledge that on the 21st. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, yes. So on the 21st of May 2019, Malawi had its elections.
Mm-hmm.
But then we had a lot of irregularities in the election cases. So as the Malawi Congress Party, we were not satisfied with the way that the elections were handled. And because we had the support of a lot of people were not satisfied with how the elections were handled, everything. That is when we decided to take the matter to the court, together with the other parties, including UTM and PP.
Okay.
Yes, and then after a lot of struggles, after demonstrations, after a lot of struggles, let me just say that is when now we were we were told that we would have to vote again on the 23rd of June.
Okay. And could
Can you hear me?
What was your, yes, I can. What was the campaign period like?
Between the time that we were told that we would vote again and the time that we voted.
Yes.
So, okay, I didn't get your question.
I was just asking if you could just maybe explain to us how the campaign period was. So the court ruled that there would be another election, and then now the political parties started campaigning. What was that like? Because we saw a lot in the news about violence and stuff like that. In your own words, could you explain to us?
It wasn't easy because we had like a very short time to campaign. But then a lot of people worked hard, including a lot of young politicians. Everybody was involved. Go to the streets, go to the villages, tell the people the importance of voting and why we had to vote again and everything. Of course, we had violence, whereby we had members of DPP who were very sure that they would win again, and so they were against the whole campaign thing and everything. They also claimed that members of our party were also being violent as well. So it was hectic, I guess.
Okay. So finally, last question. What unique role do you think the women and the youth played in this election?
I think a lot of the things that happened during these elections were actually carried out by youth and women in general. We had we had groups of young people going to the streets demonstrating. They were actually led by youth. We had the campaign itself, whereby young people were the ones who were actually going to meet these people, because we had a very short time to campaign and everybody was supposed to get involved. We couldn't just leave it for our leaders to do everything. So because everybody was eager to see change in Malawi, so everybody was actively involved, making sure that the whole process is going to run smoothly now and everybody is going to be satisfied. And that is what has happened.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. But I just want to hear your thoughts. This election was carried out during the time when COVID-19 was there, and I think it's most of us have never experienced a global pandemic. How were you able to manage with this?
I was actually one of the members of the Malawi Electoral Commission, the ones who were involved in the whole process. So we were actually provided with some materials to minimize the spread of the disease. We were given some materials and what's on, but then it wasn't easy. And actually we can see that the numbers of people who are like positive with the coronavirus, it's a bit higher now, so we don't know how it's going to be.
And it's possible that it was because of the election process.
Yeah, I think we shouldn't rule that one out. We might have some chances that maybe it was due to that. You know how involving the whole election process is. You meet people, you are in close contact with a lot of people. So we can say that we should rule that possibility out.
Okay. All right, Emilia, thank you very much for joining the live stream. It was good to see you. I'm just going to add Rodney, and you can say hello, goodbye. Hi, Rodney. How are you?
Okay, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for agreeing to be a part of this. I'm just going to excuse Emilia now. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Thank you. Welcome.
Okay, enjoy the rest of your evening. Hi, Rodney.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Could you please introduce yourself to the viewers? Tell us a bit about what you do. Tell us how long you've been a member of the Malawi Congress Party and all of that.
Firstly, I would say good evening, all the viewers, wherever you are in Zambia, in Malawi. It's nice to be here. My name's Lordney Darlington Chatsalira, and I'm very much famous with the name Gang Law. I've been a member of Malawit Congress Party since I was born. It's an inborn member of Malawit Congress Party. I've been following. Even then, I was young, but I was just following how it was like when I was young up until when I grew up. So when I grew up, that's when I start to understand what it's all about when it comes to politics. So I was going through whatever happened. The time when I was young and when I was growing up, and the time by then it was one party system, and up until my party started. So I was trying to compare the way how things was like the time when I was young and when I started following politics till the way how I am now. So when I had to go through everything, I had to recall everything. So I saw that whatever MCP Malawi Congress Party has been doing then, I think it was light for Malawians, because whatever the case, there was no nepotism. There is no, everyone was. The government was in a position to. The then government, the MCP government, was in a position to share the cake equally from any place in Malawi. So when my party came in, we were led by United Democratic Front and DPP, the Democratic Progressive Party. That's when I understood that no, it was very bad. Looking at the way how things were, looking at the way how they were running the government affairs to Malawians. Yeah.
Okay, so in your own words and in your own perspective, could you give us a little bit of background on the events that unfolded leading up to this election, like the last election, the presidential petition, the electoral malpractice, and all of that?
Wow, a long process. You're just reminding me, people were tortured. People, they had to stand. But I'll start with the background about the elections. As you know that Malawi is a democratic country whereby we usually have general elections, tripartite elections every 5 years when we have our general elections. So on 21st May 2019, we were supposed to have or to hold general elections, and we had them. When we had them, there were so many irregularities. You talk of TPEX.
Yes, we saw all of that. It went viral on the internet.
Yeah, it was viral on social media, on Facebook or WhatsApp. Yeah, even some international news or media houses, they were in a position to take from social media. Yeah. So on 21st May came, polling centers were opened around 6 in the morning. That is 600 hours in the morning. It's 12 hours process from 600 hours in the morning to 1800 hours. So after 800 hours, polling centers were closed. And in the process, everything went well. But when they started to transfer the data from, by then we called the form 66C. There were so many things that happened. It's either the presiding officers were refusing to give monitors every copy, each monitors, firstly. Secondly, they were using TPEX. Now, what is TPEX? TPEX is a collection field. The field that deletes what is originally written there. So they use TPEX to delete whatever was originally written there. When they used TPEX, it means that they signed because they didn't want some figures to be shown. So they used TPEX. So when we were trying to tabulate the votes, because it's not by law, but every political party is supposed to have its own data center. So when we were trying to tabulate the votes, that's when we find out that there are so many, TPEX. Some forms were not signed for by monitors. They were using duplicate forms, and when duplicate, it means that there must be original form. And some forms that they were used were fake forms. So we sat down as a party, as the members of the youths, and I was part and parcel of those guys who gathered information. We gathered all evidence, so I was part and parcel. So whatever I'm talking, I have evidence on that one. So we gathered all the evidence. We told our president, the 60th president of the Republic of Malawi now, His Excellency Dr. Lazarus Makathi Chakwera. We told him that this is the evidence that we have covered. We have discovered all these things, and we are ready.
So,
we know
where were you able to find this evidence?
I beg your pardon?
Where did you find this evidence? How were you able to find this evidence?
Good. We got this evidence differently. Yeah, it was a short term, but it was very hard to cover all evidence that we had, because I remember we submitted to the court almost 94 active files. With every file packed with document. The evidence that we got, as I already told you, that presiding officers were supposed to give our monitors a form of Form 66C, where all the results were written. And besides that, because when we gathered all the forms across the country. We kept the forms. Then the Malawi Electoral Commissioner, they uploaded another forms, whatever they were putting all the results.
That
they
was
were putting
different
on
from
their
the
website.
forms that the presiding officers had.
Yeah, they were putting on their website.
Oh wow!
So we downloaded everything from their website. So we started to compare with what we had. So at the end of time, we try to compare. We see, that's how we gathered our evidence.
Wow. So could you just hold that thought as we add our honorable MP to the conversation? Because he's not going to be with us for long, and we can have a conversation with him, and then we can continue as we were discussing.
All right.
Hello. How are you?
Hi. I'm very good. And yourself?
To have you here.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I was saying we're very honored to have you here.
Welcome, Tinashe.
Okay. So if you could just introduce yourself to our viewers.
Okay. My name is Stephen Kamsiyamo, an MP for Lilongwe Southeast. We'll be turning 38 on the 20th of September. I won as an independent candidate because I never participated in party primary elections, but I was given mandate to take charge of the constituency on the 21st of May 2019. Then immediately I joined the ruling, then the opposition Malawi Congress Party, which has turned out to be the ruling party from the 23rd of June 2020. So I'm now sitting in as an MP for the ruling side. Yeah.
Okay, so as Zambia, we are going to be going to our elections next year in 2021. And I don't know if you followed what has been happening in Zambia, but there's been a lot of, the youth for sure have been bullied a lot. And if you look at the composition of our parliament, we only have 4 members of parliament that are young people, and the rest are not. So in your own words and through your own experience, what do you think as young people we need to do to ensure that we have more young people in parliament come 2021?
Basically, you're not going to receive the position of an MP. You must earn it. So the people of Zambia, the youth in Zambia, they must earn the position. You can only earn that position if you are in close contact with the people, the voters, because you're seeking to get into top leadership position. So leadership is like a love affair. You fall in love with the people, and the people must fall in love with you. It's not just because you're a youth. What is it that you're bringing on the table during your campaigns? What is it that you are advancing to the electorates? That's what matters most. It's not just about a matter of being youthful and whatnot. Like in my case, I had to resign as a regional manager for Unilever. At that stage, I was also given a role as sales and distribution manager for Upfield, a company which bought Blueband. But I had to quit and be in politics, active politics. And I had to prove my relevancy, not just because I was a youth, no, but I had to earn it by making sure that on a daily basis, I was busy on the ground with the people who matter most. The mistake contemporary youth are making is to spend a lot of time on Facebook, social media, and these are the people who will not vote. Most of them, they don't vote. Like in my case, I never posted anything on social media that I was contesting, but look, I won because the people I was campaigning, the area where I was campaigning, it's a rural constituency. As such, there was no need to focus on Facebook and social media. So all I can say is, for my colleagues in Zambia, I know you're suffering. I aid your sufferings, but it's time the youth must earn their trust, they must earn their positions. For you to get to that level, you must be on the ground, Tinashe. Yeah.
Thank you. What would you say the top 3 challenges you experienced are, and how did you overcome them?
Basically, one of the main challenges was financial challenges, because I ran as an independent candidate. So running as an independent candidate is not easy. Looking at the culture of handouts, it was outlawed, but you still need to buy t-shirts. You're looking at feeding people, you're looking at engaging people, and the equipments which were used, the flyers, campaign materials, everything. It was expensive. So by then I was 36. It was not easy, because I had to spend whatever I had. So that was one of the main challenges. The other challenges was coming from coming from the old people. They looked at me as somebody who is immature, not ready to govern. So they were not sure. As such, they gave me cold shoulder. So finances, age, and at the same time, the party thought I'm going to be a sellout. So I also faced resistance, because I contested in an area where MCP is strong. They thought I'm going to be a sellout. After winning and joining the ruling party, of course, I was offered a role, which I turned down. I was told to join the ruling party so that I could get a ministerial position. But I felt it was against my integrity, because when I was campaigning, I actually told the people that the moment I win, I'm going to join MCP. Then it was in opposition. And looking at the contemporary youth, everyone would be enticed to join in government and get a ministerial position. But I felt it's going to affect my integrity, because it was a commitment which I made before the people, but in the presence of God. So I had to walk the talk. Yeah.
Wow, I think just listening to the experiences you had, and I'm sure this is just a tip of the iceberg. It's very inspiring. From what you've said, one of the things I've gotten is it requires a lot of sacrifice, because I was actually going to ask you how you were able to balance your professional life and your politics, and I had no idea you actually had to quit your job. That takes a huge level of sacrifice on your part, and then also you saying you sacrificed quick gain, because right now or before the MCP came into power, you'd have probably been a minister, but you chose to honor your people and to keep integrity. So that's very inspiring, and I hope that's something that us young people can pick out on, because one of the things with us young people, I think across the board, is we've become so power hungry and we want to get rich really quickly that we sell out.
Exactly. Simple
Do you
message
have
to the
Yes, sorry, go ahead. No, it's okay, go ahead.
One thing that I would want to ask my fellow youth, especially Zambians, as we're preparing for the next generation next year, I'd like to ask them to take their own steps. The problem the contemporary youth are facing a lot of challenges, because we would like to take other people's steps. They would like to live like someone. When you compete with someone you haven't even discussed from the word go that we're competing, and you try to be like someone, then who is going to be you? They shall surely be know you in the world. So be yourself, take your own steps. They're good things. I was invited to State House, but I turned down. I was called, I switched off the phone, because I knew it was against my integrity. So live your life.
That's very inspiring. Just in this recent election, what would you say? Would you say that the current parliament of Malawi, plays a unique role, either helping or against the outcome of this election?
Yeah, we played our role as opposition parliamentarians that time, because government was not willing to get to the ballot. They wanted to drag, although the courts had indicated that we're supposed to vote again. But we took a stand that no, enough is enough. Let the people have their own leader. So for us, we knew for Malawi to rise, Mutharika and Muluzi were supposed to fall.
Whoa.
So we had to stand because Malawi is bigger than two families. So we had to rise from the word go. So even at Parliament, we were sure whatever we're doing it for the sake of Malawians. It's not about me. It's not about any politicians. It is about the next generation. If we can't do it now, then who? If not now, then when? And we thank God everything is now set, and we're set for a brighter future under the leadership of Dr. Lazarus Chakwera and the Vice President, Dr. Saulos Kroos-Chilima. I can assure you, just 2 days ago, we passed main budget, and in that budget, the rise has been taken down from 23,000 Malawi kwacha to 4,495 kwacha, and we've even raised the tax-free ban from 50,000 to 100,000, and the minimum wage has been raised from 35,000 to 50,000 Malawi kwacha. These are the steps that a caring government must undertake for us, the youth. You may wish to know that we've even pushed. The previous government had given us 15 billion as for MADIF loans for the youth and women. But this current government, just within a week of being in government, we've pushed it from 15 billion to 40 billion. These are the things we were pushing for. These are the things we're fighting for. Malawi belongs to everyone. And for Malawi to rise, Mutharika and Muluzi, DPP and UDF were supposed to fall. Because if UDF and DPP had not fallen, definitely a rural person would not have an access to a cheap fertilizer. And this is a universal fertilizer, subsidy, if I may use it that way. Yeah.
That's really encouraging to hear that, because I know that the MCP had drafted a 72-day manifesto, and then after that 72-day period, then there would be like a more formal manifesto in place. So it's very good to see that within the first 3 days, drastic decisions are being made. And it also goes to show that some of these issues that we face as young people and the issues we see in government are just a lack of willingness for the leaders to actually do the right thing. So I'm very encouraged. Just in conclusion, because I know you are on a tight time schedule, I would like to ask you, you said something about Muluzi and Mutharika had to fall. One problem that I think Malawi had, and we also see in Zambia, is the constant recycling of politicians. So in as much as you might change governments, you never really change mentalities, you never really change regimes, because you pretty much have the same families, the same mentalities in power. What do you think are some of the qualities young people should look out for in leaders they want to vote into office? Because I think a lot of the time when we go to polls, the election polls, we are distracted, and sometimes we are swayed by maybe what you get from the leader or the hype around that person. What do you think in this coming election Zambian young people should look out for as leadership qualities?
I think, in my view, integrity. A leader must have highest standard and the best level of integrity. A leader who is willing to walk the talk, that's what we all want. We need a leader in his actions who is a statesman, not a politician. A politician focuses on the next election, while a statesman focuses on the next generation. So as we're going around, let us see what these other players are advancing and try to analyze their statements and whatever they're saying and see if they have elements of statesmanship, not so much into politics. Africa is rich, Africa has everything, but we need people with the highest form of integrity. Those who will not bend because China is offering something, because UK is offering something, but those who are going to sit down, understand their people, understand their challenges, and see, develop a way of making sure that their people have moved from one level to the next level. So Zambians, we love you here. We've set the example, and the example is very clear. If you're not impressed with whatever Lungu has been doing, whatever, it is your time. Go out
Thank you.
and vote.
Thank you very much. Do you have any conclusive words before we let you go back to your busy schedule?
I would like to wish you all the best to Zambians. We're just a phone call away. Those who want us to help, we're sure going to help. All we need is to see a new Africa. A new Africa is possible. In my case, I didn't have a name, but I made it in Malawian politics. We want people who don't have names, those who don't have relatives at the top, but those who can appeal. Honestly, without cutting corners on the ground, we're here to support you. We will support you anytime. The last words is to my dear friend, Gerard Chirua. I love you, Gerard. Comrade, I'm looking forward to seeing you next year. Next week, Monday, when we're having our inauguration. Gerard is my boy. And
wow.
I'm looking forward to seeing him here. His invitation card is set. Everything is set for him so that he can get to learn some of the things. He has invited me to Zambia several times. And this is the type of leaders who want a network of youth across. So Gerard, you're most welcome. And all Zambians who feel they want to attend the inauguration ceremony on Monday, let's keep in touch. We can always keep some cards. I can pledge 5 invitation cards for the youth, just for the youth, so that you get to know, to experience get to know that there's COVID and all COVID issues apply. Yeah.
Nice.
Otherwise,
And at the beginning.
Yes, Nashe.
Oh, I was saying at the beginning, I was just talking about how we all met at the first cohort of the Zambia PYPA Malawi for the Zambia Malawi region. And,
Yes,
those are some of my fondest memories because we had the best time. And do you remember I was saying Zambia Malawi, one village, one product?
One product. That was at Chipata. Yeah, Chipata was
the first ever training. Yeah. Quick one before you go. Do you feel that the PYPA program helped you in terms of realizing your dream to become a member of parliament?
Yes, very much. Because the campaign strategies, research, and whatnot, these are the things which helped me. And here I am, and I would like to say thank you to Maria, Anna, and the team which facilitated that training. They were a good team. That was powerful. Yeah. And as
thank
I've said,
you for your time.
All right. As I would like to wish you all the best. I'm in the transport committee for the inauguration ceremony, which is on Monday. So I've been up and down. The more reason I was slightly, hesitant to be here. But I felt I'll betray you, Tinashe. So
I'm so grateful. You are a man of integrity. You kept your word.
Yeah, I had to. Otherwise, I wish you well. May God increase your territory and everything. Thank you.
Thank you. See you in Malawi soon. I don't know when. I won't say the date, but see you soon.
You're most welcome.
Wow, I was very inspired by that, weren't you?
Yeah, sure. You know, last Sunday we had tears of joy because we couldn't believe that it has worked. Malawi finally has been saved. But we thank God. We thank God that, you know, Malawians have been saved. Those who can speak, you know, we have the president and the vice president who do anything, everything for them. Yeah.
I think Malawi is really a shining example. And I hope that just as the trends have continued in the past, where Zambia and Malawi have shared very similar political occurrences and political history, I hope that this one village, one product will also continue with the 2021 election. And when it comes, we as Zambians are also going to have like leaders that we're going to look at and be proud of, because their heart is genuinely for the progression of the country and for the impoverished and the young people, and for us to actually add something to the course of Africa.
Yeah, sure.
So we can pick up this conversation from when you were telling us about how you were able to acquire evidence as the youth within the Malawit Congress Party against the electoral irregularities that were happening.
Yeah, we did work day in, day out. So the press where we got we were working on the information. Some people were working at night, some daytime. So we're working in shifts because of the time frame. The courts wanted all the documents within a specific period of time. So we gathered all the evidence and we submitted to the court. Then, by then, the UTM, that's another political party, United Transformation Party, they were doing it separate as well, because, you know, it was two different political parties, MCP and UTM. So them, they were doing their, they were gathering that evidence somewhere there. The MCP were governing our evidence somewhere here. So we surrendered the evidence to the court, and when the court had to look at the evidence, they said no, it was similar. So they combined the case into one. So what the court did, got this petitioner, who is the vice president of this country, Right Honorable Dr. Saulos Klaus Chilima, and second petitioner was the president, then was the president of this country, Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera. And we had defendants, the Malawi Electoral Commission and the DPP. So case started.
Do you feel that if the youth had not played the role that they played of coming together, that Malawi would be at the point you are at today?
No, the youth, especially Malawi Congress Party. In fact, there are so many people who played a very big role. But firstly, for the case to be there, they were supposed to have the court, or we as MCP or MCP and UTM, we're supposed to have evidence to surrender to court. That was the most important thing. Because without evidence, they would have been nothing. So it was the youth. It was the youths who played a big role, in looking at the evidence.
What factors, what do you think brought the youth together? Like, because I'm sure among the youth, when you have people most of the time, there's conflict, there's clashes, there's disagreements. But what do you think meshed and bonded the youth together to come together for a common cause?
Because all the youths here in Malawi, we are going through the same. We were treated as trash. We were treated as if we are nobody. We can't do anything. We can't contribute anything to the country. But we, the youth, we say, no, we are able, we can do it, and we do it. And we did it.
Did social media play any role in mobilizing the young people?
Yeah, sure. It played a very big role in the sense that, Malawi is a bit big. So whatever the youths, for example, whatever the youth from here in Lilongwe were in a position to share to other youth. Like, for example, in my case, I've done something. I'll put it on my social media page and Facebook page. Then people start following. So people have, my fellow youths will have guts to do exactly what I've done. So it was like we were sharing ideas through social media.
Like with many things, it can be a double-edged sword. So sometimes politics can be, not politics, social media can help, but it can also harm, because I think people have also used social media to spread false news, to spread information that just might incite wrong actions. How did you guys, as the youth in Malawi, ensure that you had a uniform message, and number two, you didn't misuse the power that comes with social media?
As I've already stated earlier on before, I said we, the youths in Malawi, we were treated harshly, badly. So we all had same common goal. That's why we didn't misuse social media. Because I'll give you a very good example. Someone has faith in me. I'll write something on my Facebook page because I have some few friends, for example, 1,000 or 2 or 3, that they know me, they know my integrity, they know what kind of person I am. They will know that, whatever has written in his Facebook is true. To them as well, they will light on their pages. So somewhere, somehow, it determined on the source. Yeah.
Okay. I hope that's something that we can pick out on as young people in Zambia, of just the importance of unity in a cause as big as this. Because I'm sure in many ways, the government and other forces tried to bring separation among you guys as the youth, because as the common saying goes, divide and conquer. For the moment that people get divided, you can conquer them. So what are some of the specific things you suffered as opposition parties wanting to bring about a change? Because I heard in the media, situations of violence and, all of that. So could you give us more insight into that?
Yeah, sure. When I remember those days, I nearly shed tears now, because we went through hell. I'll give you some, maybe 2 or 3 examples. the president now, Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, was tear gassed in his office when the then U.S. Ambassador Virginia Palmer went to him, went to say goodbye and go. My tenure of office has come to an end. The Malawi Police Service came to Malawi Congress Party and, tear gassed both the then ambassador and the president. We did nothing. We're just in our, compound. So, those are setbacks that the government put aside. I have one friend, he's a youth. I thank God that he's alive, but they nearly shot him. And they missed him with an inch. They only shot him a bit on his ear. So the government tried, but the then government, not this government, the then government tried, the DPP government tried to block anything, anyhow, so that we shouldn't go out and, talk about change. Malawians wanted change. And Malawians now, they are very happy because Malawi is saved.
From what you're saying, it seems relatable, but then it also seems, for lack of a better term, like a prophecy of what is to come. Because, for example, in the past few weeks, the youth had wanted to protest against the corruption that had been happening, against Bill 10, against, just poor investment decisions. And they were not allowed to do it, and on grounds that they would not be permitted police escort, and they didn't want violence. And the youth kept saying, like, look, we come in peace. This is peaceful. And the tone of violence kept coming from the government. Like, at no point did those youth say we're going to be violent. No, they wanted a peaceful protest. And then we had there's a member of parliament that went to the extent of threatening young people and saying that if anyone took to the streets, he was encouraging the police to break their bones. And, so the youth had a bush protest instead, and that still, for some reason, triggered the government and they're unhappy. But, we foresee that come 2021, and we really hope and pray that this doesn't happen. But with the tone and with the way that they're behaving, they seem like they're ready to risk anything to come against any type of opposition that comes their way. What advice do you have for us? Because obviously there's certain people that will back away because they want to remain safe. It's self-preservation, and but even when you look at the liberation struggle of independence for both Malawi and Zambia, we would not be where we are today in terms of being free. But if we did not have people that were bold enough to stand up against the tyranny and the bullying, what words of encouragement do you have to us to help us withstand some of the horrible things that might come our way?
Firstly, I would encourage Zambian youth to be, they should have vision, what they want. From now, you talk of 5-10 years from now. Secondly, I would also advise Zambians to have, to have integrity. That no, I don't want A, I don't want B, I don't want C, I don't want D. I want X. For example, I understand that there are more Zambians who are jobless. Now, in the process of doing that, the government, they'll try to give them or to offer them some money, huge money, so that they should back off.
And they've already started.
Now, it'll be stupid of the youths if at all they will accept that, because nothing is going to change. They should swallow their plight. They should stand up, because we are talking of just this is July. You're talking of 5, 6, 7 months from now, you will have elections, and they'll be happy. They'll be happy if at all they will not accept any money from any politician. I'll give you a very good example. We have been offered money, huge money, but we said no, because whatever we are doing, whatever we did, it is for us, it is for our kids, it was, our great kids. So I would advise Zambians, they shouldn't think of anything about money. They should think of their future. They should think of what they want to do, or where they want to be in the next, 5, 10 years, even 20 years from now. Because each passing day we are growing up. So if they'll be thinking of money today and tomorrow the money is finished, they should ask themselves that they're gonna be slaves, because they'll still go back to the politicians, and the politicians is going to give them money. There'll be nobody.
And I think what you said is very important, because I think the fear with many people is that, okay, what if I put in my all, and even after that, we still don't see change. So let me at least get money out of it. So I think it's important, like you say, for all of us to stand our ground and say, in 5 to 10 years from now, what would this money that I'm being offered even have done? Because, ill-gotten wealth actually never lasts. We actually think that we're going to do something, but it actually burns holes in our pockets. So I think it's very inspiring to hear from people like you and Steve, who've been offered big things and you've turned them down, and you've had to sacrifice a lot in your own personal capacity to ensure that every other Malawian is enjoying the type of freedom that you're enjoying today. So I have another question. What do you think were the 3 worst things that your previous government did?
Corruption, nepotism, and as far as we youths are concerned, we I've already said we look as if we're trash. We can't contribute anything, but here we are. We contributed. Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is you're never too small to contribute and to fight against, like you said, corruption, nepotism, and what was the third one?
Like we the youths, we're taking as if we are trash. We can't contribute anything.
Oh, they were undervalued. How they undervalued the young people, which funny enough is kind of bears similarities to what's happening in Zambia. But could you give me some thoughts as to how you think MCP is going to be different from DPP in these 3 areas, in the area of nepotism, in the area of corruption, and in the area of valuing the youth?
Firstly, the president, Dr. Lazarus McCarthy Chakwera, and his vice, Light Honorable Dr. Salos Klaus Chilima. Today, they have been in office for 3-4 days. As I'm saying now, things have changed. I'll give you a scenario. It's not a scenario whereby in Zambia you have Zambian Revenue Authority. Here in Malawi, you have Malawi Revenue Authority. There was this other lady. This other lady applied for job at MRA, but she didn't get a job. Some couple of days ago, when our vice president, because he has been given ministerial post of economic planning as well as public reforms, so he's going through every public office. So I'm just trying to give you an example what makes Tonse Alliance and DPP different. You went to the offices of MRA and had to go through the paperwork. Surprisingly, there was this other lady who was using somebody's name in papers. Someone who applied for the job, but he was not given a job. But someone from DPP was tipped, so he was given a job using somebody's paper. So he was arrested. Yes, he was arrested. It should be 2 days ago. He was arrested. She was arrested. So what I'm trying to say is, the DPP government, they used that person because maybe she was coming from that tribe where the then president was coming from. So that is nepotism. And as I'm saying, corruption. Within 2-3 days, the government has chased all members of parastatals in Malawi. We don't have currently, we don't have 60 board members of parastatals in Malawi because of corruption. So you see that the government within 3 days the government is doing something that everyone is able to see and to feel that this government is doing A, B, C, D, E. Now, the government, this government, they have been validating us because they allowed us to look for evidence, to gather for evidence. Without us gathering for evidence, there was nothing that could have been happening as it is now. So that's one thing that is giving us difference between MCP or Tonse government and DPP government.
Yeah. So Caiphus Kwendakufa is joining us, and
thank you.
I want us. Hi, Caiphus. How are you?
Hi, I'm good, and you? Hey,
Good, thank you.
Ganglo.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, and you, bro?
I'm okay.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. Thank you so much
You're welcome
for joining us despite your busy schedule.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's okay.
Could you just introduce yourself, and we're going to continue with the conversation from where Rodney left off.
Okay, to start with, my name is Caiphus Peter Kwendakufa. I'm the Regional Director of Political Affairs in MCP, Southern Region in Parigura.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So just before I added you to this conversation,
Yes.
Rodney was talking about how, as the young people, they were able to gather so much evidence. And this is one of the things that helped MCP get into power. So I'm asking you this because I know you are a lawyer. So I wanted you to speak speak specifically to the legal and the judicial side of things, because one of the things that's evident here is that in Malawi you have a judiciary that is not afraid of doing its job. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. It has been like history. For the past, this is democracy anyway. Judiciary has not been independent. You know, we have three arms of government. We have the judiciary, we have the executive, and the legislature. The separation of powers has been a problem since democracy in Malawi. So the government has been bulldozing these arms of government. They could not separate these three arms. There comes a time when you say enough is enough. The people in judiciary, the people in the executive, the people in the legislatures, these are human beings who have got feelings. So to them it was enough. We have the younger generation that is coming after us. So they said, no, I think we have to stop this. Let's do things that will leave history, will leave a legacy that the young generation, the generation after us will appreciate that we have done. So we have seen that with this judiciary. They stood and say, no, we are standing for the justice, we are standing for the truth. So the evidence that Lordiness was talking about helped the judiciary to make sure that justice was delivered. The government had their own evidence, the opposition had their own evidence. So we brought this evidence before the court of law. So the court had to decide based on the evidence that was gathered between these two parties and presented in the court. I don't know if that answers
I think it does, and I think also from your situation, I think we can deduce that there's a lot of young people in Malawi that I guess understand how the law works, because they were able to find not just any evidence but also quality evidence that was able to withstand all of the thresholds that the courts of law place on evidence. I don't know, because I don't know, like I'm sure your Malawi legal system is also somewhat based on the legal system because we had the same colonizers. But would you say, according to your legal system, outside of the presidential petition, are there provisions within your legal system for citizens to take the government to court?
The provisions are there. The provisions are there. Only that the literacy levels are high in our country. I think after this election, the government has to, people needs to know their rights. They need to know these laws. I think these laws needs to be made in our vernacular languages so that people should follow what exactly happens.
Exactly.
Without this, then we'll still be 100 or 200 years behind the developed countries. And again, just to add on what I said,
sure,
we have had electoral cases before, but they are just hanging because the complainants did not have the evidence to prove their cases. So in this case, people had evidence. So it was like we learned before what happened before. So we used those mistakes and correct those errors, and we gathered the evidence and presented to court. So yeah.
I really like what you said about learning from mistakes and doing it differently, because I think sometimes we tend to move around in circles without truly learning from anything. In your own words, could you give us a background of how this happened and how you were able to succeed and get to a point of where we have a new president?
Okay, you have generalized the question. I will still try to answer your question.
Pardon?
Us, it was like a project. You have generalized your question, so I don't know if my answer will still answer your question. So I'll just
just answer it. Like, you can be as specific as you like.
Yes. Okay. To us as MCP, it was like a project. After 2014 general elections, we were like, okay, this is the president who can run this country well. So let's draft something. Let's work on something that will take us into government. So as young people, we sat down. Maybe I should say this before I proceed. The coming in of Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, it opened up for the youth to come in, to show their possibilities on how they can contribute in politics, so that as a country we should move forward. So we sat down
just
after
just to interrupt a little bit. So would you say that Dr. Lazarus Chakwera saw the importance and the value of the youth in this fight and in this task? Okay.
Exactly. The good thing is that he challenged us. You as young people, you as people, as citizens of Malawi, come up with something that will change this country. Liberate your minds. Come forth and challenge me. We'll work together. Together we'll achieve what we want to achieve. So that's what we did. So like I said, it was a project because of that challenge that the president did. So we sat down and drafted whatever we wanted to achieve. So we had these departments. Unfortunately, I cannot reveal everything, but Rodney knows. We have had meetings before. Everything. So these 5 years, we were working towards our project. Come 2019.
In fact, we had sleepless nights of 5 years.
Yes.
Project.
Yes. Actually, the time we are coming to Zambia for PYPA trainings, we are learning from you guys. How are our friends doing? You didn't know that we are getting something from them. Yes.
Wow.
So we are trying to take ideas from you, incorporate with our ideas. Then we say like, okay, I think we can move forward with these ideas. I think it's working. So it bared the fruits anyway. 2019, we did that. We won the election. That's the fact. We won the election amidst of what the DPP, the charter members did, the government did. So we won the elections.
Not the government. You said the then government, because now we have a new government.
Yes. Thanks for the collection. The then government, the DPP, the Bruli camp.
Sure.
They saw our victory. The good thing is that we had the evidence. That's why we went to court. We won the case. So we went back to our drawing board. Okay, let's amplify some of these errors that we made. That's how we won this election. So, okay, before that, people were speculating a lot because Dr. Laz, our president, the current president now, and the vice president, these are the complainants who went to court to complain about the electoral or whatever the challenges that we faced. People were criticizing us. Okay, why can't you just work together as a team? Why can't you just unite, Malawians? The good thing is that these guys voiced the idea. So they worked together as Malawians, putting aside the differences. Yes, we have different ideas, but then these ideas, they are for this country to develop. So they, as leaders, they agreed. They agreed. So we went to elections. Things worked according to our plan. The leader do. The challenge, of course, has been us as followers, as followers for the parties. We have expectations which did not go according to our plan. Actually, it would be a problem for these expectations to achieve all of them. But for the leaders, it's okay.
We seem to have lost Caiphus. I think
sure.
maybe he's having...
I think I can just add on.
Yes.
I would say that, to have Tons Alliance, I see Tons Alliance came from God. Because in our local language here in Malawi, when we say Tonse, it means all of us.
Which is just like in Zambia. Yeah.
Okay. So it's Tonse Alliance, all of us, meaning that there is no nepotism. There is nothing and nothing. But all what we want is everyone. During 2019 campaign, our president, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, had his agenda. And his agenda was the Chakwera Super High Five. That super high five, every word had the meaning. For example, super S, because super is 5 words. So he said super super 5, super high five. Yeah, so S, the president said, I want to become servant leader. You, he said, no, I want to unite Malawi. No nepotism, no what. And P, he said, when we Malawians are united, then we will prosper together. That was P of super. And E, it was ending corruption. While R was rule of law, meaning that everyone, no matter who, everyone should be under the law. So that's what our president believed in. And we believed in him. We believe in the same thing as well. Yeah.
So you said S was seven-hearted leadership, U was unity, P was what?
Yeah, S, servant leadership, U, uniting Malawi, P, prospering together, E, any corruption, and R, rule of law.
And I think one of the, because I took time, I would follow him from time to time and listen to some of his interviews. I really like the fact that he constantly emphasized on servant-hearted leadership, because when you look at the kind of government we have in Zambia today and the government that you had in Malawi before, you like that was a tone that was never spoken about. Like, leaders believe that they have to be served rather than serve people.
That's it.
So for me, I think that was one of the things that really impressed me about your president, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera.
That's it.
So you said super high five, and then what does H and I stand for?
No, it's because it was high. It was like he's prioritizing. That's
okay. No, I understand.
Yeah, so it was super high five. He said anything that is going to do is going to follow the super word. Yeah.
No, like I think we can see this in the first 3 days.
Yeah, sure.
We really hope that it's going to continue. Dr. Lazarus Chakwera reminds me a lot of Magufuli from Tanzania. And I was just reading something today that Tanzania has gained middle income status, so they're no longer a developing nation or a low income country. So I hope that in a few years we're going to be saying the same of Malawi, and we're going to
in fact, not necessarily that we are going to say about Malawi, but we want Africa.
I love that.
We want this to be in Zambia as well. Tanzania, they have a very good president. In Malawi now we have a very good president. In Zambia next year we want to have a very good president, a servant leader as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope so. One of the things that
don't hope.
I believe so.
That's it.
I believe so.
Because we Malawians, we didn't say that we hope so. We said we believe and we're going to do it. And we did it. So in Zambia as well, you said, no, we're going to do it. You will do it.
Yes. The mindset, thank you very much for that correction. The type of mindset, which is, I think, an excellent point. I think many times we have doubts, And the moment that you believe your doubts more than your hope or your faith, it's highly unlikely that you're actually going to achieve that aim. So just as we begin to wind up, I can see that Caiphus is back.
Okay.
Caiphus, can you hear us? Hello? I think he's still having challenges. So for you, what do you think are some of the things that we have to remember in Zambia? Because I think one of the great things that you have emphasized is it's also the onus on the current leaders, the ones that want to get into power. There is no way you will do it without working hand in hand with the youth who are the majority. And when Emilia was on, I asked her about the women. And this is also something that I want to ask you. What role did women play in the outcome of this election?
I'll be very honest with you. In every country, as far as Africa is concerned, youths and women, they play a very big role because they're they're the ones who vote. We vote. Women, they vote. And as far as Malawi is concerned, we have a very larger percentage of women. They voted. Some should be 3 days ago. One of the Zambian friend, he tagged me on Facebook. There is this other Tanzanian comedian said, Kenny Dumbo. He was laughing about how people voted. They said, no, why did we hate? Why did we hate? He said, why did we hate the president? People wanted change. People wanted, something different. People wanted someone who loves, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, Caiphus.
I'm sorry, I'm experiencing network failure.
No, we understand.
Sure,
Maybe you could also answer the question that Ro was answering. What would you say? Like, I know you already said the youth played a very vital role, but what would you say was the role that the women played in this election? Can you hear me? Caiphus? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me? Wow. I think he's still having internet trouble. And I had quite a number of legal related questions to ask him, but hopefully he'll be able to get on before we end our discussion. So saying, for example, like with the women, were there any reported scare tactics that the government may have tried to use to get them not to vote? Because I know that in the 2016 election here in Zambia, I was having a discussion with someone, and she was saying that her mate had told her that there were certain cadres that had told them if they were seen going to vote, they would beat their children or kill their children.
Okay, this is what happened.
In another area. And she said that even her maid or helper had also been told the same thing. And like you say, because women play a very vital role in society and in our African culture. And I think they're the first people to get fed up with bad leadership. So rather than allow them to go to the polls and vote out.
Good, please.
Hello?
Okay.
I can't hear a thing.
Try and reconnect. Disconnect and reconnect.
Oh.
Okay, you know what? this is how things changed here in Malawi. During the petition to the court, there was demonstrations. Malawians across the country demonstrated. And this is the then government knew and felt that, you know, sometimes people, they had enough. The people were tired. People, we are not afraid of guns. Some people were shot. Some people were, everything were, you know, the government used anything to scare us. But we are ready to sacrifice our lives for the better Malawi. So even though during the voting day, government couldn't do anything because they tried it during the time of demonstrations, but they failed it. So they couldn't scare anyone. They couldn't. But they were scared because they knew that their time to be in power has come to an end. Where are they now? They are nowhere to be seen. Malawians, they won, and this victory belongs to Malawians.
I really like from what you've said. I think what I've been able to get from that is we as Zambians are going to require a very high level of fearlessness.
Zambians, my dear brothers from Zambia, my dear sisters from Zambia, cousins,
yes.
Listen to me. In our local language, in our Chewa, we say it, Dzigo sidite ngati malanda.
What does that mean?
It means that, you know, those who are in power, they can't just give out the government. We need to force them out of government. This is exactly what we did. So my fellow sisters and brothers, cousins from Zambia, listen from me. I've been part and parcel. So I'm telling you, you shouldn't sell out your freedom for money. You shouldn't do that. One, and two, you need to say that you will die for Zambia. If you want to change things, to change how this the current the PF government, the PF government. I like one guy, you know, I like him. He talks. He tells Eddie Galung what to do. I would love to see so many Zambians, the likes of Gerard Chilua. They should, you know, press him, tell him what to do. He should be accountable for whatever he's doing. This is what I've been doing. We did it. You can do it.
Thank you for that. Caiphus, are you able to hear us? Caiphus? Wow. I think it's been very hard to get him on.
Yeah, sure.
Just as we conclude, Rodney, what are your last thoughts in regards to the road ahead, the advice? Oh, we just managed to get Caiphus on. Caiphus, can you hear us?
At least I can hear.
Can you hear us? We can't hear you.
Yeah.
Oh, the network is so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, we can't hear you, Caiphus. Could you try and reconnect so that you can give us concluding remarks? Oh, God. Oh, and we would have learned so much from Caiphus because he's such a brilliant mind.
Yeah, sure.
So what are your concluding remarks? Because I think we're almost 15 minutes past the end time.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to give a word of encouragement to my fellow Zambians, youths more especially. You know, we have a larger percentage of population in our respective countries, so we shouldn't sell out our freedom to someone who is 70 years plus, even 80. Someone who he feels that is going to die some 5 years from now. We have future. The future is with us. Let's fight for our future. So
I think those are very important.
Yeah, when we are to die, we should leave our legacy.
Hello?
That's it. That's it.
Okay. Caiphus, are you now able to hear us?
Yes, I can. I'm not enjoying this interview. You know, network is not doing us any good. If we don't do it
I know,
today,
and you know, I was just telling Rodney that we have so much to learn from you, and the network is not letting you be great.
It's very unfair. Very unfair. You know,
I see there's a friend there, a member of the youth joining us.
Yeah, my son. It's my son.
Youngest member of MCP.
Yeah, a diehard. Sure. Okay, so what was the question again?
I think that where you left off, I was just asking about your opinion on what role the women played, but also how the women in Malawi were able to overcome the scare tactics. Because in any situation, I think governments usually try to, or bad governments, for example, will try and keep the people who feel most pressed to get them out of office to ensure they don't vote. So how did the women in Malawi overcome all of the threats that they were receiving?
You know what? We have a very good percentage of women who are not working. A few of them are doing business. Those who are doing business, they're facing the challenges. People are not buying their products. Some of them, they run saloons. For you to operate a salon, you need electricity. Without electricity, you not be able to operate that salon. So these people were fed up. So we have this section. Okay, for the sake of this interview, let me call them housewives. Their husbands are working, but they are not getting what they expected from their husband. The husband is not getting enough money because the economic situation is not good. So it was like everyone was fed up. They wanted change. People wanted change. This was revealed in 2-3 phases. One, during the demonstrations, people demonstrated while the court case was in progress. Secondly, during the campaign, a lot of women showed interest. They showed the hunger of change. And again, after the elections, when the results were announced, we saw people celebrating. This is what proved to us, okay, I think everyone wanted change, and the women as well wanted change.
Yeah.
So because of all these, what transpired during campaign, what transpired during the demonstrations while the court case was in progress, it proved to us, it showed us that everyone wanted change. The women were ready to go on the street to demonstrate, to show their anger, to support their husbands, because people were not able to get the job after going to school. They were not employed. They are not getting the jobs. What did you expect from these people? They have to go on the street and demonstrate to show the government that we are angry with. We are angry with you. We need change. During the campaign.
And Caiphus.
Yes.
I just thought Tinashe said, you know, the government tried to kill us.
Yes.
At our national headquarters, we have so many canister of tear gas, so many.
Did you tell her that our president, actually the head of state now, the HE, was gassed with the
I told her.
The USA ambassador in our
I told
HQ?
her, and she knows
And
it.
I also heard it in an interview where he spoke about it.
You see, these people were taking this country as if it's their personal state. They thought they could do anything that they wanted. Nothing is forever. Nothing lasts forever.
True.
Perhaps I should extend that. I should extend that advice to you guys in Zambia. Never take Zambia as your personal state.
That's what Edgar Long is doing.
Yes, if you mess up now, no matter how long it may take, the law will strike you, and it will strike you hard. What is important for us like Africans now, it's patriotism.
That's it.
We should show the patriotism that we want this country to change for better, this continent to change for better, for generations and the generations yet to come. If we show that patriotism, I tell you this, the Americans, the Western countries anyway, they will come to us. They will come to and beg to us. Why? We are developed. We have the intelligentsia to develop this world. What lacks in us is patriotism. Patriotism first. It doesn't matter which party you belong. It doesn't matter which president you support. If you are a patriot, you'll be able to criticize even your own president. That's what we want for this generation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure.
You know, when you were off, Rodney gave us the super high five.
Yes,
and I know that the aura, now based on the little lesson that he gave me, I now know that the aura symbolizes rule of law.
Yes.
In your own view, what sort of abuses of the law went on in Malawi, and how did you survive that as, first of all, a person in the legal fraternity, and as citizens, and like what examples and advice do you have for us as Zambians? Because we are also seeing the abuse of the law, and we're seeing the law being selectively applied. If you're pro-government, then there's certain things that don't apply to you. If you go against the government, you're not getting certain rights. So what advice do you have for us regarding the legal related issues?
To start with, you guys should know that no one is above the law, even the president himself. He's not above the law, and he will never be above the law. Separation of powers is paramount for every country to develop. If you guys appreciate that, we have 3 arms of government: the judiciary, the legislature, and the executive. And each arm should respect each other. Things will go smooth and you develop easily. That's what we are trying to do, because this is what our president preached. Now, the rule of law will be visible when there is this separation of powers. Everyone should respect, each arm should respect each other. That's the only way. Just not because he's the president, then he can bulldoze the judiciary, he can bulldoze the legislature, then that's bad. That's bad. These things will backfire at some point of time.
Okay, so we've gone past the time that we were supposed to have ended, but I know you have so much to tell us in Zambia. So just give us anything you would like to share with us, anything you think we should know, and what can we learn from the Malawi situation?
Okay, for us, like the Alliance has taught us a very big lesson. We have seen unity. I mean, we have seen power in unity. We have seen people coming together and forget their tribes, working together for the sake of the country. You guys should do the same thing. Forget about your tribes. Forget about where you come from, the regions. You call them province, right? Forget about the province you come from. Just look at one goal, your nation, your country, Zambia. What is it that people should do? You people should do to make sure that your country develops. Forget where you are coming from. Liberate your minds. Come together as young people. These old guards should learn from you. We were in the majority. That's what we did. We are in the majority. We controlled these guys. We said enough is enough. You should. You guys should do the same thing. Say enough is enough. You have the intelligentsia to change the way things run in your country. I'll go back to what I said. Patriotism. That's what is paramount for every country to develop. So forget where you are coming from. Come together as opposition political parties. Work towards one goal. If the current government is not doing enough for you guys, come together for the sake of removing those guys, so that you guys should come in power and prove to them that things can work better for every Zambian. I think I've answered your question. I hope.
Thank you. I think those are some very wise words. Just conclusively, is there anything you did in terms of the campaign message you sent out? Like, what did you do? How did you package your campaign message in order to appeal to people's hearts, to appeal to people's emotions? Because based on what you're saying, you know, the women, it became personal to the women. You think about, okay, maybe many of them might have not even understood the different economic factors, but they knew that, okay, let's say 50,000 Malawian kwacha, it was able to get so much 3 years ago. And now it's only getting this much, you know, and then, you know, like, rather than, you know, you can't tell them, no, the economy and the inflation rate, and because many of them might be illiterate. But when you relate it to things they care about and things that are tangible, it's easier. So could you give us some advice and some examples of some of the things that you did?
One way of packaging your message campaign is to give pragmatic examples.
To give what?
Pragmatic examples. Things that people are facing that they believe that it's a challenge to them. Like in our case, fertilizer is very expensive. 80% of our economy lies in agriculture. So we took advantage of that and promised the farmers that fertilizer will be cheap. As of previous government, we are buying 21,000 Malawi kwacha per bag.
It was 23,000.
Yes, 23,000. So for a 1 acre, it means you need 3 bags. So we took advantage of that and promised them that we will be fined 4,900 kwacha per bag. So they were like, oh, okay. I think these guys, their promise us something good, which we have achieved. We have stick to the promise that we made during the campaign.
I hope. How is that?
The other thing is the problem that we had. We had one problem. You go to Planta, one problem. Mzuzu, Kasungu, everywhere else in Malawi we had one problem. So we had one campaign message, which was the common problem of every Malawian across Malawi.
Actually, we have improved the minimum wage as well. It was 30,000 minimum wage. As MCP, we promised 50,000 minimum wage. For those who are receiving 100,000, we told them tax-free. You'll not be paying tax. But those who are receiving more than 100,000, they'll be paying tax. We have implemented what we promised them. The just ended budget, we have included that. That's why everyone is happy. They say, okay, they promised that this. And look at them, they're doing it. Something which has been a problem all along, because people used to promise things, but they could not achieve it. It was just a way of winning their hearts, but not with this government. Actually, we have learned a lot from our friends, the Chara members.
The Chara Mwamba.
Yes, we have learned a lot from them. They are good at promising, but not delivering. So this time we said, no. If we take these people for granted, we are the ones to be embarrassed. So we are sticking to what we promised during the campaign. Sure. So you guys should do the same thing.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
You're
Okay.
welcome. We should do this again sometime. I didn't enjoy it because of the network failure.
Yes, definitely. I think we really should. And I think, like you said, and also like Steve said, this is ultimately, it's not just about Malawi, it's not just about Zambia, it's about the African continent as a whole. Because before the scramble for Africa came and the countries were demarcated according to the boundaries we know now, we were one people. So PYPA, Zambia, Malawi, one village, one product.
One product.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. I will love a nice God bless.
You need to pay us a visit.
Hopefully, I will see you. Pardon?
Our chambo is still good, so you have to pay us a visit.
And that's what I was about to say. You're going to see me soon. I'm coming to eat chambo and to drink sobo and cocoa peanut. Do you see? Like I can't wait to have. So I'll see you soon.
Please come. All right, thank you.
Yes. Thank you so much. And I think we should do this again and we'll be able to just learn from what you've done so far. I think let's do one after the 72 days manifesto has elapsed.
I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with that. Thank you.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your evening, gentlemen. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you for everyone that has watched this, and I hope that there have been practical examples that you can learn from. I think there was so much practical knowledge that came out of this conversation. There's so much that we can learn within our Zambian context and within the African context as a whole that we can implement. One thing that was emphasized was the power of unity and also the role that the youth played. Going forward in Zambia, I think let us only rally behind leaders that are going to give us as youth the significance that we require. And I think I would do a video just dissecting this, and because it's very long, thank you for everyone that has watched throughout the end. We shot over by about 30 minutes, but thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy this and this was informative.